Good evening, everybody. I've had quite an interesting day. Extreme high, low, and then now here we are closing out the end of the day, and everything changes just like that. So Ontario, I get sidetracked today with breaking news from Doug Ford going into a whole rollout on lockdowns, vaccines, stated facts of the time. He goes live with that. 18 plus hot spots in the Toronto area, essential services to get vaccinated, all of these things. And within literally hours, as I go through my break times here at work, it all changes. And he reposts and posts new changes, news puts in changes. Now they can't even get the double shots of the vaccines they have. It's insane. And we see report after report of news media contradicting everything said. Then Doug Ford coming back. It's insane. And you know what, everybody? It distracted me from what's happening out in Alberta. And a lot of comments from all my friends and followers, and a lot of people reaching out in these crazy times. Just in the last 24 hours, hit me with a pretty major epiphany, I guess you could say, or a major light bulb. And I put it in the title here, and I've talked about this out in Alberta before, and a lot of people didn't get it, give it a lot of street cred, or nobody wanted to look at it as it is. We have a charter right called freedom of association. Yes, we have freedom of religion. We see freedom of religion placed in many international scene with absolute cementing in international law. We see it on the Canadian system. We see it throughout the world with many countries. So religion is as old as politics itself. First rules of law, really, when you start to look at religion. But what's interesting is the fought rights and freedoms for freedom of association binds unions and religion together. What's happened here in Canada with the political parties is they've polarized the two. It's one right under freedom of association, what we're seeing with Pastor Coates Church, and then it's also the same right, freedom of association, for all local unions. We watch the right side strip that from the unions, and we watch the left side strip the right of freedom from the religious folks. Do you all see what's happening here in Canada with the government? As they take one right and crush it, it systematically takes the other group and crushes it too. I know for a fact historically in Alberta and how the unions have always run, religion and unionism never ever really crossed paths. They never had really any issues. We had the Social Credit Party, and I urge people from all across Canada to have a look at that Social Credit Party and just how that was established in Alberta, where people had all of these rights and nobody overstepped the other. They were both very strong in their own corners, and nobody ever crossed paths, or it was no one looked down. In Alberta history, of all places in Canada, nobody ever looked down upon religion or union. They were treated in high regard, both of them, as they were. And what's happened here is the parties now, this left and right narrative you get, they've cornered each of these under one shared right and freedom and torn them apart, weakening that charter of right and freedom and absolutely bolstering the strength of the politicians. Look at it. Just look at this last year. You can take, I don't know about Ontario. I'm learning Ontario here as I go, and the crazy train of what they're rolling out in health measures. Today was a perfect example for me just how insane it really is on a crazy train. But if we look at Alberta and we look at Jason Kenney, his massive attacks on all the unions, stripping them of all their rights and freedoms, and then after completing that monumental task, stripping away assembly, stripping away your right to protest, to congregate, It's now rolled over into religion, as they just did a fence all the way around Pastor Coates Parish out in Spruce Grove, Alberta. A lot of people are congregating there now. They're going to be protesting. People are going to be camped out. I know lots of people are going to that. It's very unlikely I'm going to get back. I can't even get back for my kid's birthday, which is terrible indeed. But this is something you all have to understand. And if there's one person you're ever going to hear from who's ever done more work than anyone else on law enforcement, that's me. I did it for Alberta Independence when I ran for Premier in 2019. And I can tell you all this, absolutely. There are federal divisions in RCMP in each province, but it's very, very minimally. You can go out, you can go look at K Division narcotics in the province of Alberta, for example, completely federal. You can look at prisons, completely federal. RCMP, although right across Canada and leased out by the federal government, provincially they're run by the province. When you look at a town like Spruce Grove, Alberta, who doesn't have their own utilized police force, like let's say a municipality, Edmonton, Calgary, and I believe there's 5 others that have utilized the Federation of Police. RCMP get leased out for municipal and provincial. That is absolutely Spruce Grove, meaning this is all done absolutely by Jason Kenney, not Justin Trudeau. Trudeau didn't order RCMP out there. That's AHS, which, again, everybody, learn your division of powers. Healthcare is the responsibility of each and every province, aka Alberta Health Services. Yes, RCMP go across the country and are leased out to the provinces individually in lease agreements, but unless it's a federal, if this was drugs, then it would be K Division, then you would see federal law enforcement. That's not the case here, ladies and gentlemen. It's absolutely Premier Jason Kenney. People have to get this stuff right. If you don't wish, if you want to look at it how it is, all you have to do is type my name in a Facebook search, type in law enforcement or Alberta Federation of Police or my name with RCMP, and you will be able to look at all the detailed information on every major law enforcement agency in Canada. I've also done the United States of America too. I know how much is union, what percentages, where they're at, what they cover, who's police force. And I'm telling you, Spruce Grove, Stony Plain, that county, RCMP administered provincially by none other than Jason Kenney. Now, there's no doubt Justin Trudeau would sponsor this action. There's no doubt in my mind he would, as Spruce Grove is one of his least favorite ridings in all of Canada, as it absolutely was proven. When you can go on my Facebook and find, we all went out when Justin Trudeau first came to Canada before his election. It's on my Facebook. It was brutal then. He wasn't well received. Everybody knows that is the most conservative riding in Canada. But I'm going to ask Canadians this right now. What is conservative? Because I'll tell you by definition, every Canadian who works, budgets, makes some kind of living, you're conservative. Your politicians are not conservative. The definition they use in a political party is just political pillow talk. They're all colonials. They're not conservative because they don't balance budgets. They don't have to work, provide, and be responsible with their money. They don't have to be accountable to nothing. That is not the definition of conservative. If your budget can't be balanced in any government, that's not a conservative. We haven't had a conservative government ever. It goes against the definition. It's a terrible term to use. They use it, people fall for it, but the reality is only the people are conservative. And what the people are missing is absolutely constitutionalism. We have limited codification federally that only codifies against the people. What enshrined rights you have are only subject to whatever your politician wants to do. Show me in any constitutionalism in Canada's very limited codified federal constitution on any rules of governance or how they're accountable to you, because there isn't any. We can go on to the provinces, zero codified constitutions, and worse, zero accountability for any premier of any province. They do whatever they want. It's why we see radical swings up and down. We see radical Doug Ford today announcing all these things he's going to do with 18 plus and all essential workers. Within 7 hours, it's been changed 6 times to the point, well, half a vaccine's better than no vaccine, even though it's not going to count for anything. And will it help you or not? Oh well, jab. It's insane, you guys. It's insane. Our politicians are out of control. Colonialism embedded in our Constitution is out of control. If anything COVID did is shine an extremely bright light on the fact that none of your supposed charter rights and freedoms are actually protected at all, because they're subject to unaccountable elected autocrats in a colonial system embedded in our Constitution. They've been doing this for a very long time. The political parties, especially Liberal and Conservative, use this tug of war. They're both in bed together to give more power to the politician, to take more from you, the people. We are one of the worst countries in the world. Look at what I'm saying. Listen to what I'm saying. Share, share, share. Important stuff here. Get it out. Thank you. Have a great night, everybody. I don't think there'll be any vaccine. I don't even know if I'm going to get out of Ontario. Probably have to tell my girls I'm not going to be home for a birthday. We'll wait and see. But in this lunacy, who knows? Who really knows? Bye now.